Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Mama Faye Live Conversations. And what a day! But we're going to get started with the two topics that we're going to talk about today, and that is stop living your life in reaction mode and three states where people can find affordable housing. But first, I want to welcome everyone that is on YouTube, Facebook, Substack, and later we'll be live on Twitch. So I want to really say thank you to all of you who have been listening in. And I also, of course, want to encourage you to always send your likes and your comments and subscribe. Now, let's get straight into it. This week, we talked about on the Mama Faye Becoming Me podcast, we talked about goal setting. And I realized today that many people live their life in reaction mode. And what happens is you don't do anything or you don't try to change something until something happens in your life to force you to have to change. And so what that is that you're living your life actually based on a reaction. You're reacting to whatever the circumstances are at the time. And so I want to encourage you and talk to you today about starting setting goals because a lot of times, let's face it, many of the times when things happen, we are aware that something is wrong. But what we'll try to do is we'll try to put it off and we'll try to not ignore it, or sometimes we can be very discouraged because we feel like we don't have the resources in order to be able to do it. So we will just keep putting it off. But this week, I talked to you about how to start goal setting. And I tell you why goal setting is very, very important to your life. Because when you set goals, actually, it helps you to have better control of things and it forces you to educate yourself and be ready and to have a plan and have a step of how you're going to do it. So, I know that's something that word sounds more like when we talk about budgeting. And most of us, we don't want to hear that word because that means that it can be sound tedious. And I know a lot of times we have tried to set goals in the past. I know a lot of you do New Year's resolution where you're going to do, and then you fall off of those resolutions. That's not what I'm talking about. What I am talking about is sitting down and setting down goals that you know that you want to see happen in your life. This is not dreaming. This is not I wish. This is not sitting down and seeing, I like to do that too. Dream of how your life would be in a certain way. It's not just all about that. It's actually putting down the goal, but what is key is writing down steps as to how you're going to achieve the goal. And I did do what did was I put together a guided goal journal. And the reason why it's a goal journal is because it's specific to your goals. And the first one that I had put out, and you can get it for free, is the Mama Faye Goal Journal for Women. And on that one, I kind of give you a little bit of a guidance. But this week, what I did was I actually filled it out for three specific things. And the first one was for if you're trying to buy a home. The second one is if you're trying to find a place to rent, because many of you are graduating this year, you high schoolers, if I got a few of you that's listening in. So it is going to help you to be able to find your first place and all of the steps that you would need to do in order to find it. And then I also put a goal of moving, because a lot of times moving can be so overwhelming. And I hope at some point I can actually talk to you about how to move and it not be as overwhelming. But I put a step by step. And so what it does is it give you the steps of how to actually create a plan. And then I talk about putting the time frames in, because it's so important to have a time frame. Because if you were like me, especially when I was a little bit younger, I would put off my, put off things that I didn't really want to do. And even sometimes now, I'll find myself not wanting to, tackle something that is seems like it's going to be time consuming or it's going to be difficult. I will put it off. But a lot of times when I know I have a deadline to meet and I know I've set a deadline, I know that I have to get to it and I have to make myself do it. And so that's what goal setting is all about. It's about helping you to tell you what to do. It's easy to tell other people what to do and tell them how to do it, and you need to do this and you need to do that. But it's so hard, hard, hard for us to really be able to tell ourselves that, okay, you got to get up and you have to do this. You have to make this happen. You have to, in order for that to happen, you have to do this. And that's another thing why goal setting works, because a lot of time while you're putting in the steps, you'll remember another step that you need to do. And you're like, oh, I got to do this step first. And so then you go ahead and you put that in your plan to, okay, I got to do this particular step first in order for me to meet that goal. And so I will encourage everybody to go ahead. One of them is free. That is the Mama Faye Goals Journey goals journal for your goals. And that one is free when you subscribe to the Motivate Moment by Mama Faye. That one is actually free. And it'll send you automatically an email of a discount code where you can go to my website. You will put in that discount code and you will get that 100% free. So I want to encourage you. And then what it is that one is a PDF. So you can actually just print off a page or two, or you can type into it. It should allow you to type into it, and you can either save that to your desktop or your phone and actually follow that and follow it. And another reason why goal setting is so important, and this is something that I'm going to get into next week on the Mama Faye Becoming Me podcast, and that is goal blockers. Because there are goal blockers that happen. And this is why a lot of times people don't want to set goals, because there are goal blockers that can happen. And one of them is distraction. Another one is crisis. Sometimes we have a crisis come in our life, like maybe you get laid off and you didn't know you was going to get laid off. Maybe a sickness come, or you get into a car accident. So these are all goal blockers that prevent us from maybe reaching a goal that we have. And so, but when you have goals set down and they're written, you may have to hold off on that goal. But the good part about goal setting is when the crisis is over, and this is key, when the crisis is over, or when you have it where it is manageable, because some crises we're not going to maybe forever be over, but you have to get to a point where you can manage the crisis. Once you're able to manage the crisis, now you have to go back and now you know where you left off. But when it's just all in your head, a lot of times we forget all about that goal, or even if we forget about it, we don't know where we started, where we left off. We don't have any sense of direction. So when you have it written down and you have the plan, you can cross off the areas that you were able to complete, and you can go back to that goal journal and start from where you left off. And that's the good part about goal journal. And another thing is it will help encourage you, because sometimes it's just like when I was going to college. I was one of those, I went to college for years because what I had to do was I had to go one or two courses every a semester, and then depending on if I was having a baby, I had to take off that course that semester, or sometimes I took off 6 months, 8 months, whatever, and I that's how I actually went back to school. But the thing is that once I saw that I was at a certain point with my in that goal, I said, "Oh man, I could knock the rest of these classes out. I mean, in a year, or in less than a year." And that's when I set my mind to it, and I set up things in my house and planned in a way so that I could just go ahead and knock out the rest of those classes and graduate and become a nurse. So a lot of times this is what goal setting will help you. It help you because some of these things that we want to happen in our life, it's going to be a process. And I'm so glad that I did it, because if I had not done that, then I would not have never achieved that, because always in most people lives, it always going to be something that is going to come at you, that is going to try to stop you, block you, distract you, discourage you. All of those things are going to happen. A lot of people, you can say, I don't live around the right people, I don't have the right support group. This goal setting is how you do it. It is the game changer. So I want to encourage everyone to get that. And also, I want you to know that I also have just it coming soon to Barnes and Noble. Yeah, I've been busy this week. I just dropped a new Becoming Me guided goal setting journal, and that is going to be available. Now, that one you would fill out, and it's really almost for a year worth of goal. You set out your yearly goal, then you track yourself monthly, and then you also can pull out pages to track yourself weekly, so that you can weekly do your goals and set those goals. And this is off a little bit off track, but really on track, is for those of you that want help with setting goals, you can also subscribe to my Mama Faye on podcast, but not just the podcast, but become a paid subscriber, and you will get a one-on-one coaching with myself. And one of the things that I will coach you on is how to help you. I would help you set your plan, set your goal, and how to get you started so that you can actually get on your own journey and help give you that a one-on-one support. And that's a one-time coaching opportunity for you. So I encourage those of you who really want to goal set and want to know how to do it. I do have videos on it in the past that I have put up, but I can also do that as a one-to-one coach. So definitely do that. And so for those of you who want just the journal, it's available on Barnes and Noble, but you can pre-order, and is Becoming Me Guided Goal Setting Journal. And how you can find mine is you can go you can type my name in it, which is Faith, Faith, and I use the letter V, and Randolph, Randolph. And if you look for that name and search, it'll come up. And then you can get that gold journal, and that will be available for $15.99. But it will be able to help change your life. And if you have any questions, like I said, you can always contact me on Substack. You can message me, and I will do my best to help you with that. And so that brings me to our new, it's not a new podcast, but it's a new series that is coming back to Small Steps, Big Change podcast. And how you'll know that you have the right podcast is the Mama Faye Small Steps, Big Change podcast. And this new series is actually going to start in July. However, I usually give a few teasers of what it's going to be like. So this week I have put out another teaser, and this week we're talking about housing affordability. And the name of this new whole series is Things You Need to Know That Your Mama Should have Told You. So, and what we're going to be breaking down in this particular teaser, I talk about housing affordability and about the cost of true ownership. And also, I look at 5 simple ways to lower your renting costs because I realize that not everybody's going to be a homeowner. Sometimes renting is the best option for you right now. So I want to also include those that are renting because that is a part of housing affordability as well. And with that said, I want you to go and look at that. And in that newsletter, you can go and get those 3 um, uh, plans that I talked about, those journals, those plans for housing. If you're looking for housing to buy a house and you want set that as a goal, and then you want the plan of how to actually accomplish it, it is there in the newsletter. And also there is also the one for renters who want to rent and want to, maybe it's your first time. So it goes into that as well. And then we also have in there is moving because a lot of people are moving. And so I show how, give you a plan for moving. Now, these 3 are not all inclusive. There may be things that you need to add that is specific for you. This is just a guide to help get you started thinking about the things and the steps that you need to do. Now, if you want the blank one, you can just subscribe for free to anyone to no to the Mama Faye motive the Mama Faye Becoming Me podcast, and you'll get that actual blank one for free. But if you want the one that is filled out for those 3, you will need to go to the newsletter, this week's newsletter, and you will find it. And it's called the Becomers Newsletter. So now, for those of you today, I do want to leave you with this. I want to leave you with the 3 states, and this is a part of what we talk about this week. The 3 states where people can find affordable housing. And I put in a number because I wanted to know the number, just a number of what that'll look like. Because one of the things that we found out this week is that your housing, guess what, is supposed to be only 30% of your total income. And I'm believing that means your take home income, because if that can't mean your what you actually make. So what I did was I found 3 states where people can live affordable housing for a household that makes $40,000 and rent or buy at 30% of their income in 2026. Okay. So the third one that is Arkansas. Believe it or not, it says why that stands out, because one of America's lowest overall cost of living is in Arkansas, and the median monthly rent remains among the nation lowest. So that's why Arkansas made the list. And then the second one is Oklahoma. And why Oklahoma stood out and made the list is because a growing inventory of new homes and apartments help keep the prices competitive. And we're going to briefly talk about why that is too. And the first one, drum roll, is West Virginia. West Virginia is the best for first time home buyers and remote workers and families looking to lower their monthly expenses. And so, the reason why I mention these cities, not just because I've never been to any of these 3 states, okay? I mention this because for many of you, when you're looking at housing affordability, You have to look beyond where you are in your local area because many of you live in states or cities that you have been priced out of the market. And you have to consider that or look at it. Don't mean that you have to do it. You don't have to do anything but live and breathe and die. But you may want to consider and open up the opportunity and look at and run your numbers, look at yourself and your situation, and look at whether leaving out of your area or your state is a better option for you. So that is one of the reasons because the rent market and the housing market is based on the where you live. So location, location, location is everything. And I want you to, when you're looking at and you're sitting down and you're making this decision, and I hope most of you are making this decision. Remember what I said about goal setting? Not waiting to react when you have to make this decision, but start looking now at what will work for you and look for areas where there are lower costs and and see if that is one of the places that you would like to go. But I do want to also caution you that a lot of times when you look at places where they have low rent and low housing, a lot of times, sometimes there are not jobs that are available that are high paying. So that is something that you would need to look at as well when you're going. Now, one of the good things is that with the teleworking market or remote working that has helped many of people to be able to make that transition because they're able to keep their high paying job and move to a place where they are can get lower housing and lower rental prices. And I do encourage you to listen to the Mama Faye Small Steps Big Change podcast because I also include in there 5 things that renters can ask for and can do to help with the cost of renting. So I want to encourage you to look at that as well. And so if you uh, uh, got anything out of what I've talked about today, I want to encourage you to continue to listen to my weekly podcast on Tuesdays, which is the Mama Faye Become a Me podcast. And remember, next week we're going to talk about these reasons why you're not able to accomplish the things that you really want to in life. And many of you, I know you're frustrated because you're not able to see the gains that you want to see in your life and you have goals you want to set goals, but you don't know where to start. So next week we're going to talk about some of those goal blockers, and that always comes out on Tuesday. And I encourage you all; these are listening podcasts. I make them listening podcasts because many of you need to start in order for you to get where you want to go. You need to start listening to information that is going to help you. And here, you don't have to say, oh, well, I got to wait till I have time. I don't have time. I don't have time to sit down and do all of this. You don't have to take as much time because now you can listen to this while you're taking a shower. You can listen to this while you're going to sleep. You can listen to these podcasts while you're in the car riding because you don't have to look at a video. You can just listen in as you, because I've done it, and you can listen to these in the doctor's office. So while you're waiting on an appointment, you can be getting things that will help you to be able to do what you need to do. So I encourage you for that. And then the small steps, Mama Face Small Steps, Big Change podcast happens every Wednesday. So you can find that on every Wednesday. And it's the same, it's a listening podcast. That one may end up becoming a video. And there it is available on Substack. It's available on YouTube, Facebook, and my Facebook listeners are really tuning in. I thank them for that. And also, it is also on Spotify, Apple. Have people listening on Apple, iHeart, Pandora, Amazon. So everywhere you can get podcasts, more than likely you can find these two podcasts. And so I want to encourage you to become a supporter of the work. If you like what I'm doing and bringing to people and helping others live better lives, I want you to be considered to become a supporter. And becoming a supporter is, of course, liking, subscribing, and sharing, and putting on your notification. But this next step of supporting is also becoming a paid subscriber on my Substack, and you will get additional things because I try to give my paid subscribers additional information tools. They have free ebooks, and then they get a lot more. And for those of you who just want to say, hey, I want to just donate, you can also go to my MOMAFEY-HT website, and there you can also donate to my to the work that I'm doing. So I want to also encourage you. I do go live on Thursdays, so please put your notifications on so that you will be a part of the whole live experiences. And also, that's called Mama Faye Live Conversations, and I'm usually on Facebook, YouTube, and Substack. So leave me a comment. Now, some of you have left comments, and I really appreciate that. And you can tell the rest of them, yeah, she responds to you. I don't write like a whole book, but if you want to have a more deeper conversation, you can always reach me on message me on Substack, and I actually created a community on YouTube. So once it becomes more popular and people start talking to me in there, I will definitely be more involved. But I do go and check to make sure to see if you left any comments or any comments. So I want to encourage you to do that. And of course, if you want more of my products and you want to, I have t shirts, I have digital books, ebooks for you, I have workbooks. I also even have a webinar for nurses and a journal for nurses. And you can get that off of the Mama Faye HT, just like where you see that at HT is MOMAFEY-HT.com, and you can go there and find all of my merch and products. So I want to say to you, thank you for listening, keep subscribing, and keep commenting. And I will see you next time.